All right, guys, welcome back to another KevCAM night class tonight. Let me check through the list. Looks like we got kind of the regulars in here, so we won't have to go through the normal rigmarole here. And for those guys that are here, tonight we are going to be doing proper setups on turning and mill turn. The biggest issue or the biggest question that kind of comes up is, when do I need to add a setup? When don't I need a setup? And we kind of went through that on the milling side, and now we're going to kind of go through it on the turning side as well, and the mill turn. And got a couple examples lined up for you guys. Forgot to introduce you guys. I got Andrew helping out with any questions or concerns that come along the way, and Greg to bail me out if I get in a pinch or missing something. So.
Good evening, everybody.
Welcome.
And Greg is enjoying the beautiful weather down in southern Florida right now, and it is negative. What is it up here? 15 degrees. Heck, we're hitting a high with snow on the ground. So.
Gosh.
It is a cool 76 here.
Yeah.
You're in Florida? Why are you in Florida?
On site.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So, like,
not to get personal. Anyways, continue. Kevin.
Bring up a good point there, Andrew. If you guys ever do need on site, we will be there to train you as well. So.
We'll send Greg. As long as it's warm weather, we'll send him.
Yeah.
We'll only send Kevin to the Siberian states, like Minnesota, Maine.
Our blood's a little thicker up here.
That's right.
Okay. So we got a simple turning part here, and what I'm going to kind of do is walk you guys through setting up the fixtures and setting up the setup for it. We got 3 different ways of doing fixtures here, so what I'm going to do is I'll just do a define real quick. And some things have changed with 2018 as well, and you guys will kind of notice that we are telling you guys we need to have setups, The program was originally written to have setups for each Mac position, but it just hasn't been a must-have, I guess you say, until 2018, the way that they set up with the VMID file and the post-processor side of things. And so if you guys are in 17, it will look just a little bit different. So right here, we only have the clamping diameter right now, where before in 17, we used to have the location as well. And we could actually highlight this and move our jaw back and forward and whatnot there. So now it just goes off the diameter, and you guys can pick whatever chuck that you're looking for here. So we can do a fixture, a 3D model, which our last part I'll show you guys is a user-defined, where you guys actually draw it, and a standard one, which is what we're viewing right here. You guys can make multiple fixtures inside of the CAM project, and you can add it to your library. So if we go like take from library, we got a couple different clamps in here right now for you. That is an option for you guys. And then here's just the specifications of how the dimensions of the jaws and all that stuff. So I got the thickness here and all that stuff. It's about time Ronnie shows up. I've just seen him pop in here. But so we got a standard fixture here. Now, what do I do with that fixture? Well, the first thing we want to do is add that as a setup. So you guys will see that as soon as you guys create a new operation in 2018, it automatically adds a setup in here. Now, if you guys are seeing that you add a second Mac for the milling or the mill turn without having a MCO in there, and I'll get into the MCO in just a second here, but you'll see that your Mac 2 will actually be purple. Let me cancel this. It'll be this purple color. And that's kind of letting us know that we need to have that set up in there. So if you guys think of it as, if you guys have Mac positions, we need to have a setup for each Mac position. If you guys are just doing positions, we don't need the setup because it's all tracked in there. So hopefully, and hopefully I'm making sense, but we want to have those setups for every Mac out there. And I'm gonna get into a scenario where we got multiple Macs in one in one mill term part file, so you guys can kind of see the difference between having multiple Macs with the MCO and not having multiple Macs without the MCO. So right here, we got our clamping fixture. We can come in here. If we didn't create a fixture over here or clamps, we can actually hit the button over here and do new. We can do edit. We can do show on model, show 3D. If we do an edit, we can come in here and get the same screen as what we've seen before. So now, if we do a show, we can see, let me kind of push this stuff over here. You'll see kind of what's going on here. So we have our part coordinate system right here, our Mac 1. We have our jaws, and then we have where in location it is to the machine itself. So a lot of you guys aren't going to have machine sim with just turning, and so this is what we're going to see right here. So the top one is actually going to control the part moving in and out from the spindle. So if we were to run this through in machine sim, we'd have see our spindle in here, or if we had machine sim set up for this part file, we'd see it in there. Now, we don't have machine sim.
It's going to be part and fixture, correct, Kevin?
Yeah, part and fixture. So you can see my part and fixture moving back and forth right here. Now, if I come down to my table here, where it says table, pause 1, Mac 1, all that good stuff. Now, if I move this, you'll see my part is moving away from my fixture. So I want to make sure that that part is butted up in there, and all I'm doing is just highlighting the Z field and moving my mouse, my middle center wheel in and out. So, and then it will also control the rotation. So you guys can actually rotate your fixture to clamp on a specific area. And then, of course, what we want to do is we want to tell it that, you know, in this fixture, the stock is sitting in there. So, does that make sense? I don't have my questions pulled out here. I better pull this out so I can see if you guys are asking any questions.
I think we're good on questions for right now. Still letting everybody soak all that information in.
Yeah, there's a lot there. Did that make sense for everybody on the setups? Just doing a simple turning, because we're only going to get step it up from here now. Greg, am I missing anything just on simple turn, or anything that you?
No, I think you were covering it pretty well. Ideas for when to use the rotation around the Z-axis for your fixture would be if you're clamping on like hex parts or something like that, where you need to grab specific flats. You can rotate to match the flats on the parts.
Yeah.
Or if, for instance, the part is orientated differently than what you see in that viewport, you can actually select on the part icon from that navigation tree and rotate the part itself. Now, the part that Kevin's got on screen right now has some rotational symmetry to it, so we're not going to see much movement if we rotate the part. However, if it did have like some hex flats, like a wrench flats or hexagonal nut pattern to it, we would be able to see that as he adjusts that rotational Z value. Now, those values there is rotating around that axis, and that's what that R stands for.
Yeah, great point there. And why am I not seeing the button right here? Or is that only if I have...
It's going to be under the part itself is where you select the pick Z.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was looking for. So if you guys don't want to use this track, the track ball, or the center, I don't know what you call that thing, the center wheel, and if you have a long distance to go, you can actually just come in here and do pick Z, and then we can tell it on the part where do we want to clamp onto. So we can just do, you know, right here, right to the back of that stock, and it's going to grab right onto the back of that stock for you and find that Z, so you don't have to use this the trackball to go up and down.
Okay. There's a question in the chat here from Ronnie asking, do you always check stock in for each setup?
On the turning, definitely. And hopefully, okay, so what the stock in is telling the setup is right now is with that Mac 1, position 1, my stock is sitting in that setup location. Now, if I have multiple setups down here, you know, I'll have a setup for Mac 1, I'll have a setup for Mac 2, and I'll have a setup for Mac 3. And as I'm going through that, or I'm sorry, more or less for the sub spindle. So it's either going to be, you know, main spindle or sub spindle with Mac 1 to Mac 2. Now we're telling it in this setup here, we're doing in stock for that setup 1. And then when we do our, trying to think here, our Mac 2, it's going to be in stock for right there. So wherever the workpiece is located, we want that in stock to be. Does that make sense for everybody? Or did I make that clear enough, Greg? Or did I completely foobar it up? Oops. Let's get one that has multiple sets.
Trying to think of, yeah, I think we need a visual example on this to clarify the point.
Yeah.
I'm not going to throw Andrew under the bus, but I'm pretty sure he's lost.
No way, man. Teach this class.
Okay, so right here we have multiple Macs. Now, okay, so let's get to the setup here. So in this one up here, our stock is in our main spindle. Now, if we go over here, our stock is not in there because our stock is already machined down to size, right? So we're not clamping on our
essentially
stock.
What you're trying to do is let the software know where the workpiece is for when you're assigning toolpath to it. So if you're going to be assigning toolpath to the main spindle, we need to let the system know that the workpiece is in the main spindle. If you're going to transfer that workpiece to the sub spindle, then that's usually where we utilize an MCO operation or a machine control operation, telling the system that the stock has been removed from the main spindle, placed in the sub spindle, and now we can set toolpath to that sub spindle.
Yeah. So if we go, so you'll see with this setup here, sorry, I keep closing this, we got our main spindle and our sub spindle, everything already here. Now, if I go down here, the only reason we don't have red boxes over all this down here is because we have an MCO telling it that the machine took it from the main spindle and brought it over to the sub spindle. So if I come in here and suppress this, you'll see that we get all these red boxes down here because one, we don't have a setup letting it know that that stock is in there. So if I come in here and do a machine setup and before, and we'll go to our sub spindle here, do stock in, hit OK, you'll see that those red boxes go away for us. Or what you can do is if you don't have a part transfer or the ability to do a part transfer, what you can also do is, let me delete this here. Yes. This is kind of going a little bit above and beyond the setup, but we can come in here and do a MCO. And what we can do is tell it that the CNC operator is going to transfer it, save and exit. And now that it knows that the operator is going to transfer it from the main spindle to the sub spindle, and now we don't have our red boxes here. So let's take a peek and see. So you can see right here, kind of move this over. I can come in here And like we talked about, I can move, you know, wherever I want according to the machine, or I can come to my fixture itself and move the part in and out of the fixture. And like Greg was saying, we can, you know, rotate. This is the part. You can see the holes. Like if you watch this hole right here, because it's pretty symmetrical part, but you can see the holes rotating around, and that's like what Greg was saying is if you guys were to actually clamp onto a flat or a previously milled location like that. So now, so that is our Mac 1 pause 1. So now when we go over to our Mac 2 here, and oops, for some reason I'm rotating here. Now if we want to see that part in there, we can come over here, do in stock, and you'll see that it's clamping right onto our part itself instead of clamping onto the stock. And like I said, we can come in here and adjust, you know, where that part is being located in there, and the rotational as well as the machine itself. Now, I thought this one had a machine sim. Hide target, focus, hide stuff. Okay, no, I guess not. And like I said, if you guys don't want to run that wheel, you guys can come in here and do the pick Z as well. Did I cover everything there, Greg?
That sounded pretty good so far.
am I losing everybody? I know this is a little bit kind of complex. You guys want to see more examples of this? Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to show you guys from start to finish. So these projects were already done and created, and you guys can actually open up these projects inside of your current software that you guys have. If you guys go to the C user public documents, SolidCAM, whatever version you're running, and user and SolidWorks examples, and then these part files will be in there. Now let's do a 3D fixture. Let's go recent here. Okay, so I have a collet chuck that I want to be able to see exactly what's going on here. So like what we've done with our fixtures in the past, go to my assembly here, and it's on the desktop, open, and what I'm going to do is kind of get this mated up here. So we'll just do a quick mate. Concentric, and since we have our stock, I'll just do like an inch. Okay, so now we have our fixture in there, and you can see the representation of my stock right here from the envelope. So what I'm going to do here is go to Fixtures, Define, and now we're going to switch over to 3D Model. Grab our 3D model here. And now if I go to my setup, probably be the last one on my list here, you'll see that I got my clamping fixture, and I can just do a show on model. Maybe let's just do show 3D here. Must be this one then. Show 3D, there it is. So you can see my collet. And let's do a machine preview here. So you can kind of see So here's my head of my machine sim. So if I take and move this out, you can see I'm moving the entire fixture out. And I can move it back, and you want these lined up, you know, the closer the better. It's not going to affect your G code. It's just more or less for your machine simulation here. And then if we go down to our workpiece, you can see that I can move it in and out as well. So maybe I want to clamp on a little bit more here, or I can just leave it where it was. Now, one other thing we can do in here is if I go to my clamping fixture, I can do the generate envelope. So what this will do is it will generate an envelope. So when we start machining this, we can actually see where that fixture is and actually use it as geometry itself. So if I just hit OK right here, did I not do it? Generate envelope. Oh, forgot to change it over. Clamp fixture, generate envelope. So now you can see that I have a envelope line going around, and I can actually use that as geometry. Let me go into my, get rid of my clamping fixture one here, delete. There we go. So now, if I come in here and add a turning operation, do new, hit the green check mark here. And now when I go to my modify, I can go to my end extension, highlight that, and actually click on my chuck. So it's an extra 1 inch out, like we've already typed in there, but obviously I don't want to machine all the way up to that spot, so I can just do 0.75 as an extension, and you can see my yellow line is going to go up to a 1/4 inch away from that jaw. So you can, like I said, you can actually use it as working geometry itself. And if we grab a tool here, technology, we'll do a semi-finish, ISO turn, save and calculate. And now, actually we'll do entire geometry. So that way the toolpath will go, even though it's already up to size. So now if we do a simulate and turning, so you can see my fixture here, or we can go to our solid verify and actually see the full entire fixture here. Play it through real quick. Or we can go to our machine sim. Andrew, are your eyes glazed over yet?
Oh, I'm right there. I'm doing the moves before you.
I like to pick on Andrew as much as I like to pick on Ronnie. I don't know, Steve.
I don't know. I think Ronnie still holds the lead.
Yeah, I know. I give Ronnie a lot of grief, but like I tell my wife, the more I give you grief, the more I love you. And
thanks, Kevin.
Don't take that too much to heart there, Andrew or Ronnie.
On point here. Oh, it's just a laugh. I thought you actually had a question. Never mind. Just an LOL.
Okay, so you can see our fixture in here, and it's transparent right now. And now, if we go play it through, you'll see everything is playing through on the machine sim, and we're looking good. We're not crashing into anything or anything like that. So, okay, Greg, am I missing anything? that I told you I wanted to cover, or you thought we should cover?
It's looking pretty good so far. I guess we should point out that doing setups on the sub spindle is going to be identical to the main spindle in terms of definition if you're defining out clamps or 3D models for fixturing.
And like we were saying before, if you guys are doing a manual part handoff, there's no need to have that secondary setup. So you have that MCO telling the software that you're manually taking that part and clamping it in the sub spindle. But if you don't have that manual operation there, you will have to have two setups. So that's kind of what the MCO does for you guys. If you guys do have the part transfer, the ability there to do that, it's all in one.
And likewise, if you're taking the part out of the main spindle, flipping it around, and sticking it back into your main spindle, be sure to add another setup there as well.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that part too. Any questions, guys? That's all I have with the turning side of the setups. I know there's some confusion. Why am I having to do setups now where I didn't have to do them before? Well, technically, to answer your question, we should be doing them all the way through. But now with 2018, they are making you do it now. So, and we're actually coming. We had a meeting yesterday with the CTO and the entire tech team that Scott Neal brought up a great point is, let's say we have, and this is more on the milling side, is let's say we had 4 vices, and those 4 vices we were using 4 different parts, and you're having different tooling, so you're constantly having to add those setups in there. For the time being, you can come in here and hit Control C, and you can copy it and come here and hit Control, I think. So if we go to here, oh, I could paste it right in there. Maybe not. Paste. Thought we could copy this and paste it. Maybe not. Paste. No. So we're coming up with a way for you guys that are doing that. I know there's not very many people that do that, but for those of you guys that do that, to a simpler way to get these setups added in there. We're actually talking about seeing if we can get that kind of modified in the VMID file to kind of add that in there. So once you guys create up a setup for Mac 1, position 1, or Mac 2, it will automatically stay, so any operation going forward will have everything identified correctly, and you'll just have 2 setups up here instead of having going back and forth down your list. So, okay, that's all I got, guys. Now, what do we have coming next week? So we are going to be
Thanksgiving.
Oh, that's right.
Turkey Day.
Yeah, Turkey Day. So next week we won't have a night class. If any of you guys want to come up to Minnesota, we're going to be having deep fried turkey. Bring lots of warm clothes though. And but after that we're going to program that customer's part file, and not really taking a peek at it, but it is going to be, I've been told by the customer that it is a mill turn part file, and I'm trying to think of his name right offhand, for Metal Motion. Not Greg, but Greg, do you remember right offhand?
No, I do not.
Oh, I have it right.
I was hoping we'd get more of a teaser.
Man, I'm trying to think.
Kind of itching to see this thing.
Anyways, it's on a mill turn machine, so if any guys that are really interested on the mill turn side of things, we'll be doing that part from start to finish with milling and turning, and without a pre-programmed part for you guys, so you can see going through it in real time for you guys. So, all right.
Blindfolded too, right?
Yeah. Just make sure you're not on-site training that week. So just in case clicking the wrong thing. No.
I'm actually going to be in Indiana that week, so you're on your own on that one.
hard to find good help nowadays. No.
I know. I'll be spectating with the rest of the night class crew.
All right, guys. Well, I've said this in the past too, and if you guys do have ideas, I know all of you guys have my email address. So if you guys do have ideas, send those over to me email, because we are kind of getting on that slim pickings, just because we were just talking about it before the night class. Been doing this for 3 years, and this was only supposed to go on for a month. So we're getting close to the end of the ideas chain. Once we get past the SolidCAM utility, I'm going to get Sydney back in here, and I want to go over what's coming out in 2019 for you guys. 2019 is coming real quick. A lot of cool new features that are in there. A lot of new great ideas. The simulation is completely different. So I can't wait to show you guys that as well. But we'll get that on the books for you guys, so you guys can kind of see what's coming for 2019. So, all right, guys. With that being said, I'll stop rambling here, and we'll end her off here. And like I said, if you guys do have any ideas, send those over to me, and we'll get those implemented in. Or if you guys have a part file, more than welcome to send me any part file that you have. Just remember, it is going to be shared with the internet. And Ronnie, I do not want any of your parts, so don't even bother to send them. But I'll take everybody else.
I know. How happy are you that he can't send them?
Yeah, that's right. Ronnie can't send any parts. But all right, guys. Have a great, wonderful rest of your night, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Or actually 2 weeks, sorry. Have a great Thanksgiving as well if I don't talk to you in the meantime. Bye-bye.
See you guys.